car might look like a simple $30,000 to $40,000 purchase, but in Canada, it can quietly cost you over $100,000, and you can end up losing even up to $300,000. Surprised? Yeah, and most people don't even realize it at the time of buying. When I first thought about getting a car here, it honestly felt like the next logical step. More convenience, less travel time, more freedom. But then I did something I usually do before any big decision. I slowed down and overthought every aspect. Because some decisions are worth overthinking. Not just the price tag, but every dollar going out, every hidden cost, and every hour tied to it. And that completely changed how I look at car ownership. So in this video, I'm going to break down the real cost of owning a car in Canada. Not just what you pay at the dealership, but what it actually takes from your money, your time, and your future decisions. Let's start with the part most people calculate. And even here, most people get it wrong. When people look at a car price, they usually stop at the sticker price. But the real number that hits your bank account is much higher. Let's say you see a car listed for $26,500. After taxes and administration fees, you can expect the final out-the-door price to be $30,000. You put 20% down, that's $6,000 up front, and finance the remaining $24,000. Now, if your credit score is in a decent range, around 680 to 750, you're likely looking at an interest rate between 6 and 9%. For this example, let's take a middle value, 7.5%. With a 5-year loan, you'll end up paying roughly $4,800 just in interest. So now your $30,000 car actually costs you about $34,800. And here's where things start to shift. If you stretch that same loan to 7 years to lower your monthly payment, the total interest climbs to around $6,900, which means that same car now costs you about $36,900 in total. So yes, the monthly payment looks easier, but in reality, you're paying more than 20% on top of the car's actual price, just because of financing. And if we break it down, the actual price of the car and the financing interest payment, that's roughly $5,200 per year, leaving your pocket for 7 years. For the next calculations, I've used a 7-year term because that's one of the most common financing durations in Canada. I've also put together a simple calculation sheet for this entire breakdown, and I've linked it in the description below. It follows the exact same structure I'm using in this video, so you can plug in your own numbers and see how the cost changes for your situation, rather than relying on generic assumptions. Now let's talk about the costs people usually don't think about, the yearly ownership costs. First comes insurance. And honestly, this one can vary a lot depending on your age, driving history, city, the type of car you drive, and even whether you use it for commuting to work or just occasional usage. In Canada, insurance can easily range anywhere from $200 to $700 per month. For this example, let's assume a fairly average number, around $350 per month. That alone adds up to roughly $4,200 every single year. Next comes fuel. Let's say if you drive around 16,000 kilometers per year and your car averages about 8 liters per 100 kilometers, with gas prices around $1.70 per liter, you're looking at roughly $2,200 per year just on fuel. And then comes maintenance, the expense most people underestimate. Because when you own a $30,000 car in Canada, it's not just about oil changes and filters. You're also dealing with winter tires, seasonal tire swaps, wheel alignments, brake wear, rust from road salt, and those unexpected repairs that always seem to show up at the worst possible time. So even with a reliable car, realistically, you should keep aside about $100 to $150 per month for maintenance and repairs. For this example, let's assume around $1,500 per year. Now let's add all of that together. Insurance, fuel, and maintenance alone come to almost $7,900 every year. And that's on top of your car loan payments. So when you add the car loan payments as well, your actual yearly cost of owning this car becomes $13,150 per year. That's roughly $1,100, leaving your pocket every single month. And notice something important here. That number is way higher than the monthly payment most people pay attention to when they're sitting at the dealership. Over 7 years, by the time you finally own the car outright, you've spent roughly $92,000 in total. And this is where most people stop and say, okay, maybe this car is more expensive than I thought, but I can still afford this. But even now, we're still not at the full picture. Let's go one layer deeper. First, depreciation. Depreciation is simply the value your car loses over time. It doesn't show up as a bill, but it's very real money disappearing from your pocket. In fact, this is one of the biggest hidden costs of owning a car in Canada. For a normal $30,000 car, a reasonable expectation is that after about 7 years, it may only be worth around $15,000, depending on the brand, condition, and mileage. That means you've effectively lost around $15,000 in value over time. And if you break that down, that's roughly $2,150 per year in lost value, even if the car runs perfectly and you never miss a service. Now let's add another cost people forget: parking. In Canada, yes, parking is often free if you live in a house. But the reality changes quickly if you live in a condo and have to pay extra for a second spot. However, the real cost comes when you go into downtown areas, where parking can range from a few dollars an hour to even $20 to $30 a day. But for most people, since you don't go downtown every day, a safe assumption is around $50 to $80 per month, or roughly $600 to $1,000 per year for parking. So let's take a middle number, around $800 per year. Over 7 years, that's another $5,600 just to park your car. Add everything together, your total cost is no longer $91,000. It's now pushing closer to $110,000 over 7 years. Now let's talk about something almost nobody factors in, but it quietly costs you the most: your time. Because your time isn't free, it's your biggest asset. Fuel stops, service appointments, car washes, small repairs, waiting around at shops, even just managing the car in day-to-day life. It all adds up. Let's say, realistically, you spend about 50 hours every year just dealing with your car in some form or another. Over 7 years, that's around 350 hours. Now, if we value your time at just $20 per hour, which is actually quite conservative, that alone comes to about $7,000. So your car isn't just costing you money, it's quietly consuming your time, which is also money. Now let's move to something even more interesting and very subtle: the Diderot effect. This basically means you don't just buy a car and stop there, you start building a lifestyle around it. A phone mount here, a charger there, cleaning supplies, accessories, little upgrades over time. None of these feel big in isolation, but together, they can easily cost you around $500 to $700 a year. Let's keep it simple and take $600 per year. Over 7 years, that's another $4,200 gone, but it doesn't stop there. Because once you own a car, your behavior changes. You start taking more weekend drives, more quick outings, more convenience trips, more eating out instead of staying home, and of course, more fuel. Even if you spend just an extra $30 per week because of this shift, that's about $1,500 per year. Over 7 years, that's another $10,500. And this is the part most people never notice. Your lifestyle quietly expands without you even realizing it. Now, when you add everything together for this $30,000 car, the total cost over 7 years comes to roughly $128,000. Even if you remove the time cost, because some people might argue you would still spend that time on buses or Uber, you're still looking at around $121,000. That's roughly $1,500 every single month. And here's the reality check. Even after 7 years, when the loan is gone, other costs don't just disappear. Insurance may reduce, but expenses like maintenance, fuel, and lifestyle costs still continue. But I'll leave that part here for now because it deserves a separate conversation. Till now, I've only talked about what you spend, but now comes the part that completely changed how I look at money: opportunity cost. Let's say instead of buying this car, you simply invested that same $1,500 every month. At an average return of around 7% over 7 years, that money becomes roughly $165,000. So the real cost of the car is not just the $128,000 you spent over time, it's also the $165,000 you didn't build because that money was tied up in ownership instead of investing. And when you combine both, the true economic cost of that car becomes around $293,000. So you're not just spending money on a car, you're giving up future money without even realizing it. Now, the obvious question is, how do you actually decide in real life? Here's the simple framework I personally use before any big purchase like this. First, do I truly need it every day? Is it going to help me in my job, or is it just an occasional convenience? Second, what are the real alternatives? Public transport, Uber, car sharing? What do they actually cost me? Third, what is the true yearly cost, not the monthly EMI? Because most people fool themselves with monthly numbers, while the real cost is often $15,000 to $18,000 a year. And fourth, how much time am I actually saving? Is it saving me 1 to 2 hours every day, or just adding comfort? Now let's talk about the most important question. Who should actually buy a car in Canada? You should consider it if you have a daily commute where public transport simply doesn't work. If you're genuinely saving 1 to 2 hours every day. If your income is stable and the car cost as a proportion of your income doesn't create financial stress. Or if your lifestyle truly depends on mobility, like family responsibilities, or your job requires a car, or you're building an income from your vehicle, like driving for Uber or long distance travel needs. But you should probably not buy a car if you're using it only occasionally, maybe once or twice a week. If you're stretching your budget just to afford it. If you already have good access to transit, Uber, or car sharing, or if you're buying it mainly because that feels like the next step and all your peers own a car, but it's not a necessity for you, because at that point, it stops being convenience and slowly becomes a burden. And I'm not saying don't buy a car. I'm saying make a fully informed decision, not an emotional one, because most people think they're making a $30,000 decision, but in reality, they're stepping into a $100,000 plus commitment, hundreds of hours of time, and lifestyle changes they never actually planned for. And that's exactly why I personally overthink big financial decisions. Not because I'm unsure, but because these decisions quietly shape your entire financial future. So if you're planning a big purchase in Canada, slow down and think like this, because nobody really teaches you this part. And that difference between impulse and awareness is what separates a smart decision from a very expensive mistake. If this video made you rethink how you look at buying a car, share it with someone who's planning to buy one. It might save them from a costly mistake. And subscribe, because I'll be breaking down more real-life financial decisions like this, where the real cost is never just the price tag.